Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine Pod. Today is March 8th, 2023, and we are only 3 weeks from opening day.
3 weeks exactly?
Well, but since you're going to go ahead and ruin it and tell everybody that it's March 9th, so we know that's coming.
March 8th.
But by the time they watch this, yes, 3 weeks.
Nice. It's coming quickly.
And in 20 minutes, we have the Giants playing Team USA.
Miles Mikolas starting the first game.
Yeah, and Wayno going to start the first game, right?
Great Britain.
Against Britain. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my God, I saw some video today from I guess you can call it practice, but I guess it's probably more like a workout. And my God, that team is full of stars.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. And then I also saw the Dominican and the Puerto Rican lineups. Oh my. Also and also Team Mexico. You and I were talking about this earlier. Well, I just texted you a thing. Team Mexico lineup, very, very good as well. Japan, we know that they're going to be dangerous. I am really excited for the World Baseball Classic. Like in the past, I've always it's been a while since we've had one, but 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it. Like I am.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to be. Although I did not get up at 5 a.m. this morning to watch.
No, I did watch last night though. Boring game. So weird for it to say live on your TV and it be like 12 o'clock and it's daytime where they're playing. I think it was in Taiwan. Peter Moylan, an Australian, was one of the announcers in Taiwan for a game being broadcast in America. It was very strange. It was a strange scene, but good game. I mean, Netherlands won. We were talking about this earlier too. A lot of professional baseball players I weren't aware were from the Netherlands, which is cool.
Yeah. Like the one of the surprises I had was Alex Verdugo on Team Mexico. Did not realize that.
I did know that.
Me being an idiot, I guess, but didn't know that. So that was cool. Also, by the way, I think we might as well, since before we get to what we're going to talk about, ho-hum, Jordan Walker had 2 more hits and an RBI today.
More importantly than that, one of the hits was off Garrett Cole. I don't know if you saw his comments after the day. He was like, yeah, his at bats were the best of the day. And honestly, I didn't really even know who he was, but he was batting third and he was like 6'7". And then he was like, yeah, I jammed him on that first at bat. He was like, and then the next at bat, he just smoked the first fastball he saw. The thing that's funny, he would have been 3 for 4, but Angel Hernandez called his first at bat. He had a ground ball down the line. He called it foul and then changed immediately to fair right after. So Jordan stopped running, or he would have been 3 for 4 with an infield single again.
Shocker. It's Angel Hernandez. Like how could we have guessed that? Also Donnie with a left on left bomb today.
Off Wandy Peralta too, who
is nasty.
A lot of people don't watch Yankees baseball probably. They watch this at least. One of the better left-handed relievers in all of baseball. So yeah.
Were you watching? Did you hear the Yankees? Like I was watching the Yankee announcer feed on MLB TV.
I think it was Jack Curry.
Yeah, they were very excited.
Yeah.
Like
they do a great
you know what
job,
I mean? Not excited. Like I shouldn't say excited. That's not the word I mean. But they were like, "Oh my!" Like you don't see that against Wandy Peralta very often.
No, and he did leave a pitch up, but my God, he crushed. I just kept going, and the
3
sound
jacks.
of that, he smoked that ball. Yeah, he's already 60% of the way to his whole total last year.
Yeah.
So
it's so weird. Like we talked about this last time, and we'll get into the pitchers here in a minute. But I don't know whether to be super excited, like because you can't. I mean, how many times do we see a guy come out and hit 8 jacks in spring training, and then they're terrible for the first 2 months of the season, or we never hear from them in the spring training or in the regular season. But I feel like it should be tempered, I guess, optimism. But man, I'm geeked up about this squad because they are facing obviously guys trying to make a team, but they're just putting together good at bats. And when you put together strong at bats, that's going to translate into the regular season, as far as I'm concerned.
It also seems like all the things you wanted to see guys work on, like you want to see Carlson hit better against right-handed pitching. He has 2 homers against them and 3 extra base hits against them. You wanted to see Donovan maybe add a little bit more power, just drive the ball more. He's obviously done that. You wanted to see Gorman just consistently hit the ball, to be quite honest. He just struck out 3 times today. 2 were against Garrett Cole, 1 was against a lefty, whatever.
Yeah,
but he looked really good.
Did you see him shake his head at the end of it? Like he threw him a nasty pitch, and he just one of them just shook his head like, you got me.
That was gross. And then I mean, all the guys, and then Jordan Walker, if you had any questions about him, I think he's answered all of them. So he's in the top 3 in all of baseball in like every offensive category. So we're getting close. We're getting close to being able to say he's made the roster.
Yeah. Are you
ready? About one more week.
I mean, I think we're going to talk about this on the next pod, but are you ready? We'll save it.
Just
We'll
ask
save
the question because it could change by then.
Are you ready to say that he is on this 26-man roster and will be in left field opening day when you and I are out there? By the way, that's where we're sitting. Like, we'll be right there by him. We might become BFFs with Jordan Walker by the end of that day if you think he's going to be there.
My answer would be no. I'm not ready to say it's for sure yet because he could.
Coward. You're a fucking
I'm
coward.
just saying he could. He is a 20-year-old who is going to start facing more and more major league pitching as cuts go and spring training gets more competitive as it goes. So he could start to struggle, and then But I would, if I had to guess, I would say he won't struggle, but he might. So no, I think, like I said, if it's a week, we're a week from the day, and he's still doing what he's doing, I think we've got our answer.
Obviously, you and I have never, ever played anywhere near the level that any of these guys has. However, do you buy into the theory that as you move up the levels and when you get to the majors, from a guy who has really strong plate discipline, it's I'm not going to say easier, but you become a better hitter because the pitchers are around the strike zone a little bit more, which helps you. Like, if you have a good plate, which obviously we have seen Jordan Walker has very good plate discipline. I think the one key is going to be here soon. He's going to get a lot of sliders. Like, that's when we're going to be able to test.
He got a bunch today.
What do you like? Do you buy into that theory, or do you not take any stock into
for
that?
some people, no. It's just it's way harder.
I'm talking about a guy like Walker who has that plate discipline.
It could. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. One, he's gonna be flying like in private jets. He's not gonna be taking 20-hour bus rides. So that's a comfortability factor. He's gonna be making a lot of money, so he doesn't have to there's a lot of things. He has better weight program, he has better food. So yeah, it's a more comfortable environment. I don't know. I think it's just person to person. So I can't predict who's gonna feel that way and who's not.
I guess my point was more when you're facing young at the lower levels, you got a lot of guys throwing really, really hard, but you don't know where it's going. You get closer to the major leagues, those guys are around the plate all the time.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's like we saw J-Rod make that adjustment early, struggled early on, and then we saw him make that adjustment, became better with his plate discipline, and then we saw what happened with Julio Rodriguez last year.
Yeah, it can, but the thing that also, to go on top of the fact that they know where they're throwing it, so it's going to be around the plate more, they also know where you can't hit, and they also don't miss that spot. So then that's where it gets tough, because if he does start to struggle against sliders low and away, then that's what he's going to see. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how he adjusts, because that's going to be the thing. He's never struggled. He has never struggled, at least in his professional career. So I'm interested to see, because he's going to struggle. It's the big leagues. Everyone struggles. I want to see how he responds to that. So that's going to be one thing I'm looking for.
Did you see they upped him to 6'6" now?
Yeah, 6'6", 250 now. He was 6'5", 230 last year.
Oh man. All right. So last time we talked about Flaherty, we've talked about Waino. We just want to kind of wrap it up with the other through the rotation. Like, this rotation has been set in stone essentially since the end of last year. I mean, I know people were clamoring to go get an arm. They weren't going to do that. There was, unless you came on here and talked about earlier, unless you were going to trade one, you weren't going to go sign one. They're not going to the 6-man rotation. They're not just going to add a guy to move one of our guys that they have to the bullpen. So that was never going to be a thing unless there was a trade made. So to round out your rotation, we've talked about Waino, we've talked about Flaherty. Miles Mikolas, when healthy, we know what we get from Miles Mikolas. Jordan Montgomery, I think we saw when Jordan Montgomery came over, that's kind of who he's been everywhere. His ERA was a little bit better here, but I mean, he's been a very solid pitcher throughout his career in New York when he's healthy. And then Steven Matz, that's the guy I think a lot of us, including myself, are very excited to see a full season of Steven Matz. Yeah.
Full seasons of Steven Matz don't happen very often. So hope that we get to see one of those. Miles, I think, to lump him in with the other two, probably shouldn't. Miles he was our ace last year. If you want to say ace, he was the number one in the Cardinals rotation last year. By far. Nobody was even close to him, in my opinion. I get Quintana started game one, but he wasn't here the whole year. Miles was that consistent presence where if you take out that horrible start in Colorado, where it was just awful. I mean, God, that was horrible to watch. If you take that out, I mean, I think he might be a below 3 ERA guy for the year. The thing with Miles is so interesting to me, and he's about to start, so I can't wait to see at 8 o'clock how he looks against, I don't remember, the Giants I think he's facing. But the thing that's interesting to me about Miles is he's kind of now, after 1 year of 200 innings, viewed as a workhorse. Do you know what you're going to get? When in reality, he was great last year. Don't get me wrong. You don't really know what you're going to get because he was hurt in 2020. He was hurt in 2021. And in 2019, he wasn't very good. So like
No.
while last year was great, and if he continues that, awesome. And he looks like he's in better shape than he has been. He said he's been lifting heavier. He thinks it's going to help him, which is great. And I think the pitch clock is going to help him. I even as much as I want to say Miles Mikolas is the guy I trust, and when he's healthy, I do. I don't think you can even really say that about him.
Yeah, it's hard. And to go back to Matz just for a second for the people who, because we didn't get to see, we had a glimpse and then he fields
You
the
want to
ball
get to
that he
Matz
should have.
after Mikolas?
Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
Well, let's finish the conversation that was just started. Well, I hate when you do. I hate
Well,
when
I
you
started
do
it with Matz, and then you said,
no. You
well,
started
maybe we
with
should go to
Miles.
Miles Mikolas.
You started it
and
with
so
Miles.
we ended up to going to Miles Mikolas.
That's not what happened. You started with Miles and went down the list.
Well, sorry.
Well, respond to what I said about Miles. You like move off topics.
You know how this brain works.
Okay,
all right.
We'll fix it.
With Miles, like I said, I go back to again. If Jack is healthy, it just takes a little bit of pressure off of everybody in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, Jack is healthy. I think that allows you to slot Miles into that number 2 role. In my opinion, Miles is probably a very solid number 3. Here, he's probably going to be. Okay, that's fine, and I'll give you that. But I think he's a great number 3, right? Yes. And I think most Cardinals fans would agree that if Jack is healthy and you've got a guy to go with him, either slotted above him or right behind him, that makes this even better. Which that's what the trade deadline is going to be for this year. Okay.
You know what also
but I do so no, go ahead.
You know what also, like with Miles, I think our view of what a 2 is has changed so drastically, even in the last 3 years, because of the rotations the Dodgers have built, because of the rotation the Mets have built. And I guess we should get to Quintana at some point because I think it kind of ties in with the offseason discussion of pitchers. But because of the rotation the Astros have built, like the 2 now is like a 1 for most teams. Like they have 2 1s.
Yeah.
They don't have a 2. So Miles, he is like, if we're going back 10 years ago, that's a great 2. A guy that did what he did last year, right around the 3 ERA that throws 200 innings. That's the guy you want. That's the number 1 like 10 years ago.
Right.
It's so interesting to me. I have a question for you. In this day and age in baseball, where we are now, do you think Miles Mikolas can be a 2 in a rotation that wins a World Series?
Absolutely.
You do?
I do. And here's why. Like we saw the Braves win it 2 years ago in the World Series without Charlie Morton. Max Fried wasn't great in the World Series.
He was great in Game 6.
Okay, fine. He was great one of his 2 starts. The other one, he was not good at all.
Mm.
We saw, and here's what I will say. And even though we're not going to do a big thing because we don't know what it looks like yet, so that's why we're not doing one on the bullpen. I really believe Cody Whitley looked great again today. Jake Woodford looked awesome today. Zach Thompson continues to be that guy from the left side. I have said this before, and I will continue to say it, that I think that we have a bullpen that allows our starters to not have to go more than 6. And all of a sudden, even 5, maybe early in the season, if you want to, or whatever, but 6, all right? And you've got a lot of options in that bullpen with the extra arm that I just think are going to have no problem coming in and getting outs if, again, knock on wood, if everyone is healthy. So I think of Miles Mikolas, you give Miles, go out there and give me, like we saw the playoffs, guys are going 5. They're not going 6 or 7 in the playoffs very often.
5 and dive.
Nobody does that anymore. 5 is what you need in the playoffs. Miles Mikolas can go out and give us a solid. He did it last year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot has been made.
He made one bad pitch. Sorry. He made one bad pitch to Bryce Harper hit an absolute mile.
It wasn't a bad pitch. It was a get me over. Right. It was a get me over that he jumped.
So that was it.
Which happens. But at the end of here's my thing. I would like Miles to be the 3. It is what it is. I think something that hasn't been talked about enough is it seems that teams that heavily rely on their rotation, like the Mets, like when they were heavily relying on DeGrom and Scherzer, because while their offense has some guys in it, it's not the deepest lineup you're going to find. The Phillies really relied on 2 guys, and eventually they flared out. I think teams that solely rely on the top of the rotation guys, it's great to have them, but teams that really rely on them, those are the teams, they don't win. Like
they don't win.
A team won a World Series, I guess the Nationals, but even then, like Juan Soto and Rendon were fantastic.
You had the Nationals with Scherzer and Strasburg.
Yeah, but then they had Corbin. Yeah. So that was So, but that's also like we're talking about 4 years ago now. 2020, like the Dodgers complete team. 2021, like you just said, Braves were just hot. Like that was just crazy run they went on. And then 2022, you know, the Astros had the best bullpen maybe ever, but also the rotation was really good. But at the same time, their horse, like the guy we call an ace, was not an ace at all. He was not very good.
It's no longer the days of Pedro and Schilling or Schilling and Randy Johnson or, Kevin Brown and those guys. Like those those days are no longer.
The weird thing
Like,
about
they're not.
that, though, is like his teams are still trying to do that. Like you look at the Mets, they had DeGrom and Scherzer. Like they thought those two were going to be those guys. It just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's that these guys are throwing so hard nowadays that by October they may be a little bit flamed out. I mean, I don't know if that is what it is, but it is like they're building rotations to be the Shaling Johnson or the Carpenter Wayno or whatever you want to call it. But it's just not going that way. It's not turning out that way in the playoffs, and I think it's weird.
And it feels like fans were dying to go sign two aces. Like that's not been the winning formula. Here, you even look at Houston, who won last year, obviously outside of Verlander. But look at the guys who were the key contributors. Those were all homegrown or traded for, and they got them in the minor leagues. You look at guys like Garcia. You look at guys like Framber.
Javier.
You look at guys like Mikolas. Who
don't
say?
List Javier fifth.
Well, Javier, I was just going through the list. My point was
incredible.
All of those guys are homegrown. You know what I mean? Granted, you went and got Ryan Presley and everybody else, but I'm talking at the start, like that's what the Cardinals. I mean, I will ask you. I'll kind of send this right back to you. And I've said this on Twitter, and I get eviscerated sometimes for it, but it's true. When was the last time a ball club signed a top free agent pitcher and within 2 years won a World Series?
Within 2 years?
Yeah. Let alone the year they signed them.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I guess the Nationals traded for Corbin, but that's not a signing.
No,
I don't know.
The Astros
Charlie
traded
Morton.
for Verlander.
Charlie Morton.
Charlie Morton might be the guy. That might be the one. But he wasn't even pitching in the World Series.
No, but he was awesome to get them there.
Right, I agree. Incredible. But what I'm saying is, I'm first of all, I don't believe the Yankees are going to win a World Series this year, and they went out and spent a fortune on Carlos Rodon.
Justin Verlander too. They signed him back last year. They signed him back last year. But
he was within their system. My point is going outside of the system to sign a big name free agent.
Yeah, you're right. More often than not, it's the trades that do it.
Right, or the homegrown guys. Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw.
Problem is,
Urias. You know what? Like that's what
people get upset.
Like. We always want to go spend all this money on these free agents, but history tells us that those guys aren't winning World Series. And this team has the nucleus to win a World Series, and it also has the nucleus to make a deal at the deadline if you need to add that guy.
The problem is the Cardinals developed those guys and they shipped them off. Like,
right. Well,
two of the top 5 Cy Young winners.
Them.
2 of the top 5 Cy Young Award winners were in your system, and you didn't know what you had, and you traded them both. That's a problem.
Right. And here's what let me just address that.
But hold on one second before. If you're not going to trade for them, and your method is to develop them, you can't trade them away.
Okay, but here's the problem. Here's what I'm going to say. All right, give massive props to Zach Gallen and Sandy Alcantara, because Sandy Alcantara, in the Cardinals' eyes and in baseball prospectus eyes, and in many MLB GMs around the league who have come out and spoke about this, was a number 5 starter or a bullpen guy. That's what he was destined for here in St. Louis. That's how he was viewed. So give him credit for going to Florida, getting with somebody and working his ass off and becoming a Cy Young pitcher. Zach Gallen was a bottom of the rotation guy. That's what they had him projected as. Prospectus had him pegged as a middle reliever. So let's give those guys some massive credit,
but
and
either
not
way,
just go eviscerate the Cardinals for that.
I'm not eviscerating them. I'm saying the Cardinals need to know better than everybody else what they have. They do.
Okay.
And they need to know how to get the best out of what they have. Sandy Alcantara is an electric arm. There's no reason he should have been destined for a bullpen spot. That's because of the way the Cardinals have been thinking for years, and that's why Ryan Helsley is in our bullpen right now, when who knows what he'd be doing as a starter, but he's never going to get that chance.
Okay, to play devil's advocate, we saw what happened with Jordan Hicks last year. So
they waited 4 years.
I understand, but you know what I'm saying? Like, Aroldis Chapman never started for a reason.
That's not fair, Dad. You can't wait. Say Jordan Hicks, you're going to wait for 4 years while you've been a reliever for the last 4 years, and then we're going to give you a chance 5 years later, and then, there's your chance. You didn't prove anything. Well, he hasn't been a starter for 4 years because they never gave him a chance.
Okay. I think, though, we have to give Alcantara and Gallen more props than we have to
I'm not giving them credit. I'm not giving them credit. I'm going to give Randy Arozarena credit as well, but that doesn't mean the Cardinals shouldn't have gotten more out of those guys because we know they have the talent. We've seen it.
Well, Arozarena takes the video that has to lead to some of them being traded, but
I just say my thing is if you're going to draft and develop arms, you got to get the most. You got to get the most out of these arms, and 2, if you're not going to go get them, you can't trade them away.
No, you're right, and well, the good thing now is we have a lot of them in our minor league system.
Yes,
so. Hopefully those are those guys on the way. Going from Miles, because I think we all are. I mean, I think everybody knows when healthy, we know what we're going to get from Miles Mikolas. Outside of 2019, when he wasn't very good, didn't pitch in 20 because of the injury. 21, obviously down year. Last year, very, very good. Great in 18. Gave him the extension. You could question that all you want, but for 2 of the 5, that 2 of the 5 so far, he needs to be good again this year. I look for him to be good. I know you've talked about an extension. Let's just let that one play out.
He's getting an extension.
Okay, well, there you go.
I would bet within a week of him coming back from the WBC, he'll be extended.
Okay. Let's get to Jordan Montgomery. All right. We only got to see him after the Bader trade. He was very good. 3.11 ERA last year. This is a guy who throughout his career, and obviously early on, not necessarily the best, didn't pitch as much, but for the last 3 to 4 years, you're going to get a guy who's going to be between 3.5 and a 3.9 ERA, and a guy who's going to get you, like we keep talking about strikeouts. When you guys do strikeout, he's almost a strikeout an inning guy.
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be better than that ERA you just said. For multiple reasons. One, he's got the best defense in baseball behind him. When he was with the Yankees, he didn't have that. 2, he's not playing in Yankee Stadium, right? So that inflates your ERA. He's not playing in Yankee Stadium in the American League East. So those 2 things, like that's going to help him a lot, I think. And 3, he's developed his slider back again, apparently. So he's adding pitches. I think Dusty Blake's hopefully going to be able to get the most out of him. But I do think there's something to him playing behind in Busch Stadium instead of Yankee Stadium, which are complete opposite stadiums, and also having the best defense in baseball behind him. And I know the Yankees defense was really good last year, but that was an outlier. That wasn't how they were the 2 years before that.
And he talked about coming over here, like whether it was Maddox, whether it was Waino, whether it was Yachty, whether it was all of the above, they got him throwing that fastball more, and we saw the success of that. I just think that Jordan Montgomery's going to probably slot into the number 4 slot. Honestly, that's not a bad guy to have in that kind. I guess maybe I'm too optimistic on some of these guys, and people look at me as trying to sugarcoat it. I'm not. I'm just looking through what Jordan Montgomery's done here as a Cardinal, and honestly, what he's done his last 3 years in the major leagues. You're talking about a guy who can get you a strikeout an inning and go out and give you 6 innings every night.
Yeah, and the thing about the rotation that's so interesting is people are saying it's bad. It's not a bad rotation at all. That's just wrong. No. It lacks upside. That's fair. But I think it's a rotation of 2s and 3s with Jack Flaherty. Obviously, we talked about him last episode being the X factor that can be more than that. But 2s and 3s, and we'll see what Waino does this year. But that's what it is. And it's good to have a bunch of 2s and a bunch of 3s. The problem is they haven't been able to get into – don't have the top-end guys that have gotten them into a situation where the 2s and 3s and your depth actually matters, which would be a 5-7 game series, because they keep getting bounced in the first one or in the first series. So if they can get past that goddamn first series, I think their depth is going to be a big advantage over the opponent, because not many teams have 5 2s or whatever you want to say.
But if we're going to be honest, the last 2 wild cards that we didn't get to those series you're talking about, we didn't lose because of our starting pitching.
You keep saying that. I don't agree.
We didn't hit, Caleb. We didn't hit.
We
scored 3 runs
stop.
last year.
Why didn't
and
we
won
hit?
The year before.
Okay, why didn't we hit?
What do you mean, why didn't we hit?
Who were we facing? Why didn't we hit?
Okay, we lost game 1 last year with a 2-0 lead after
Quintana
gave us a great, and we lost with our all-star closer.
Okay, hold on. How many, we've gone over this so many times. How many teams would pull their game 1 starter in a playoff series in the 6th inning of a shutout game?
Well, we've seen it happen. Hey, go talk to Blake Snell.
Zero. It hasn't happened. Blake Snell, that was 4 years ago, and we're not the Rays.
I'm just telling you.
Well, we want to go off to the Rays model. They've never won anything. That's what I'm saying.
Verlander got pulled early last year. DeGrom got pulled early last year.
Were they shutouts? Were they shutouts?
I'm just saying.
That was my question. My question was, how many people are pulling a guy with 70 pitches in the 6th inning that's your game 1 starter of a shutout? None of them.
Seeing it more and more in the playoffs.
You're not seeing that at all. Javier got
those guys don't get pulled in the 6th inning. I just gave you 3 examples.
You didn't, because those guys, none of them were throwing shutouts. So you didn't give me any.
DeGrom had given up 1 run. My apologies.
He given up 2, I think. But that's not my point. My point is the reason they didn't score runs is because they were facing Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola. The Cardinals don't have those guys. If they did, the other team wouldn't be scoring any runs either. That's why we talk about they need that ace to develop in the postseason, or you're not going to win. It's not just as simple as the Cardinals didn't score runs. Well, the Cardinals faced Max Scherzer in 2020. Most people don't score runs off him. That's why they're not scoring. They don't have that guy right now.
But but we know that they had plenty of opportunities. They just did not come through in the clutch.
Because they're
We know
facing
that.
Max Scherzer.
Yeah, but they put together really good at bats, and they had him on the ropes multiple times.
But they didn't score because he's Max Scherzer. That's what I'm saying.
But the Phillies didn't score because he's Jose Quintana.
I mean, I guess.
Like zeros are zeros, dude. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I'm not arguing that I don't want to go into a playoff this year with Flaherty and fill in the blank. Hold on. That I don't want to do that with Flaherty and another guy. I'm not arguing that. What I'm telling you is our pitching held up their end of the bargain. That's what I'm telling you. No matter if they went 5 or 6 innings, and through 8 innings last year, 8 1/3, our pitching in the game 1 did their job.
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm saying you're looking at it from one perspective, which is our perspective. If you're a Phillies fan, you're saying Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola are 2 aces and they shut them down. Not the offense failed. So that's what I'm saying. You're looking at it from one side, and it's kind of short-sighted. The reason we didn't score is because we're facing the best pitchers in the world. We don't have one of the best pitchers in the world on this team. Unless Jack Flaherty steps up, that's been the problem. They need to have someone that can go out there and shut the other team down. They don't have that guy. And if they do have that guy that is Jose Quintana, they don't trust him enough to face the top of the order 3 times because he's not good enough and they know it.
Okay, I agree and I understand that, but let's also not forget that team with Scherzer didn't win a World Series. That team last year with Nola and Wheeler, they got there. They didn't win a World Series.
No, but the team with Javier
10,
Valdez
years.
and Verlander won the World Series. That's
But
3
two of
number
those
ones.
guys were homegrown. That's what I'm saying. So
But that's not the point. I don't care if they're homegrown or not. They need to develop someone that can strike people out, please.
Yeah,
anyone that can strike.
I think that's the Dusty.
But
Blake.
also,
that's Dusty.
You gotta have someone that can shut the other team down, and it kind of scares them. Like you're going to a series and you say we have Nola and Wheeler, and they have Quintana and Mikolas. Like their confidence is a thing in this sport. Your confidence raises quite a bit when you see that.
I'm just telling you, Quintana and Michaelis held up their end of the bargain.
They didn't. Michaelis gave 2 runs in like 4 2/3. That's not whole. That's almost a 5 ERA.
The point was they scored 0 runs in that game.
They scored 2 off of Michaelis.
No, the Cardinals.
Yes, because we were facing Aaron Nola.
So I don't care who you're facing. If you score 0 runs, you don't win.
Yeah, I get it.
You have to beat Aaron Nola. You have to be able to be good pitching in the playoffs. Like you're not going to see like number 5 pitchers in the playoffs. So whether or not you're facing good pitching or not, you have to.
But the Phillies did see number 5 pitchers. They saw a guy. They did. Like that's. Let's be honest.
Who shut them down?
Michaelis is a number 5 pitcher. I mean, they're not number 5, but they're middle of the rotation pitchers. Like Jose Quintana is not an ace for any team.
No, but they still did their job. Okay, we can keep going on about this and whatever. We're not going to get anywhere. But let's get to Steven Matz. All right, let's get to Steven Matz because this, to me, I am really, really intrigued because we didn't get to see the Steven Matz last year. Like I said, we saw him come back. He's pitching very well. Tries to field the ball he shouldn't field end of the year. Matz is another guy who can go out and get you 9+ Ks per 9. Like he's another guy who can do that. I'm not telling you that he's going to come out and be a sub-3 ERA guy, but I do believe, once again, with the defense that we have, Matz is a guy who can get you strikeouts when you need it. He is a guy who also who can eat up some innings, and he is a guy who's had a lot of success throughout his career. Now, he's had some hiccup years, don't get me wrong, but I also think this is another guy who might be out to prove something this year because, you know, you can say what you want that there are guys, oh, well, he's getting paid, whatever. I don't believe that professional athletes feel that way at all. Like I think this is a guy who's out to prove a contract that he was signed, and I just have a feeling that we're in. Matz the other day looked really good on the heels of Jack Flaherty. I'm intrigued to see him if he stays healthy. Again, we can say that with everybody, but I just truly believe that Matz also. But you are correct when you say, and we've talked about it's a bunch of 3s and 4s.
Yeah, well, 2s and 3s, not 3s and 4s.
Okay, that's fair. Well, Wayno's probably not a 2 or a 3.
He was last year.
Okay. I don't know if he's going to be this year, but
he had a sub 4 year. Well, we haven't seen that happen yet, so we can't really. But what I want to, I had something I want to say. Oh, Matz. I mean, he's not. I mean, he busted his ass to come back last year when he could have easily just said, "Hey, I tore something in my knee. I don't have to come back." And he was really good out of the bullpen. He was really, really good. 2 days ago, I think it was. Now we're against I don't know who they faced. Against the Astros, that's who it was. I thought he looked really good. His command was good. The thing with him, he's got to be on the field. Like it's at this point, they have so many guys that just consistently get injured in their rotation, where it's just hard for me to vision all 5 of these guys making it through healthy. And I guess you could say that probably in every rotation. But for Steven Matz, when he's on the field, I mean, his season with the Blue Jays that we got him off of was a really good season. And the contract we also paid him looks really good right now. I mean, go look at what James Tyone signed for. Like, Steven Matz can be every bit as good, if not better than him. And he's signing for what Taylor Rogers got. Like, basically, Taylor Rogers got 3 for 11. 3 for $33 million. That's what Steven Matz has left on his contract with the Cardinals, is 3 for $33 million. So the contract itself looks pretty good if he can stay healthy. I don't know what to expect. Honestly, I don't even know what to expect from him. I think he's going to be good if he's healthy, but I am excited to see. He wasn't very good before his injury last year, but we also don't know how long the injury was lingering, so I don't really know how to evaluate it.
I'm kind of excited to have 2 lefties in the rotation. It might not be. This is probably wrong, and somebody will correct me on this. It feels like it's been a long time since we've had 2 lefties in the rotation.
On opening day?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the last 2 years we have.
No. To start the season. I'm talking about the start.
I don't think there was ever a season where Jaime Garcia was here where we had 2 of them.
There might have been, and I'm not.
No, I don't think
somebody,
so.
But
I really don't think
I don't remember it. No.
Yeah, because he was the guy. He was the only lefty for a while.
Yeah, a lot of question marks in this rotation. There's no doubt about it. There are a lot of question marks, but I also feel like you've got guys who are proven big leaguers. It's not like our question marks are on 22 and 23-year-old starting pitching. Like, we have depth, and which is what I want to hit on a little bit. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but Woodford looked really good today. I think you've got Palante sitting there. You've got Liberatore, who we don't know yet. We just don't know yet with Matthew Liberatore. A lot of people are ready to write him off. I'm not. Yes, he has. Really I don't know yet. That's all I can say. I don't know. You also, who am I missing? There's another guy I'm missing. Oh, Hudson. Like, there is depth. I'm going to sound really ignorant here. How has Hudson looked this spring? Because honestly, I don't think I've seen him pitch an inning.
I want to say this as nice as possible. He's a pitcher.
Huh?
He's a pitcher. He pitches.
So you're saying he's not a rotation guy?
He shouldn't be on a major league roster.
Okay.
He's not really good at anything.
All right.
His pitches are below average. He gets smoked and he can't throw strikes.
Okay.
That's what I would say. So I don't even want to talk about Dak. Honestly, I wish nothing but the best for Dak. I hope he figures it out. But right now, he's a liability.
You think he starts the year AAA?
I think he should. I put him in AA. I don't really care.
Because you can't put him in the bullpen when you got these other arms.
No,
right?
and for me, like Jake Woodford, I was going to say this.
Wilking
Jake Woodford
today, 97.
Let me finish, please.
Sorry. Okay, there it is. There it is.
Well, Jake Woodford is who they think Dakota Hudson is. That's my biggest problem. They keep talking about how Jake Woodford needs to do this, needs to do that. His peripherals, this. I don't care. The guy gets outs and he doesn't give up runs. And he went against the Yankees lineup. It was the actual Yankees lineup today. Right. I get it, spring training, but it wasn't like 7 minor leaguers like the Cardinals rolled out there. Have rolled out there sometimes. It was Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Anthony Rizzo, Josh Donaldson, DJ LeMahieu, real big league guys. It was a full 9 of their actual starters. And he threw 4 shutout innings. Like, the guy has earned a spot on this team. And I think a lot of us believe that if someone goes down, Dakota Hudson slides in there for the 6th spot. I don't know why it shouldn't be Jake Woodford that gets that chance. He was great in 2021 down the stretch. Yeah. Remember, on that winning streak, he was in our rotation the whole time.
He was good last year.
Yeah, when he was up, I don't get their hatred for Jake Woodford. But he's worked with Dusty Blake a lot on his slider, and apparently his slider was not good enough. They didn't like all the peripherals on it, but he's really refined it. It's a little bit tighter of a break. He's getting swings and misses on it. He struck out Aaron Judge today. He looks really good, and I think he can pitch to contact and also get strikeouts. But more importantly, he doesn't walk everybody. So I don't know why you want to give him a chance over Dakota Hudson.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement with that. You think Palante's just bullpen guy now? I think that's what you think, that they're not really getting him ready to be a starter?
I think he's that swing man that we like to talk about, where he's going to be in the bullpen and be really, really good because he is really good. But I also think if you need it, we saw it last year, the guy can do whatever you want. Guys like Palante are very, very valuable. That's why you see guys like Michael Lorenzen getting $9 million on the open market, because he's okay with going, and he's going to be a really good bullpen piece if you don't need him in the rotation. And then if you do need him in rotation, it might take a week or 2 to build him up. We're getting him some opener starts, but he's going to be able to do that. And last year, I mean, I don't know where the hell the team would have been without him. He kept him afloat. He had some bad starts, but he was a rookie trying to figure it out. But I mean, he's great depth to have. And I think more so than any other of the last 2 years where we've been in July and we're like, Jesus Christ, we don't have a pitcher. We got to go trade for J Happ and John Lester. I think now the guys that were the like last year was Hicks and Hudson were 4 and 5 in the rotation to start the year. Now you've got a solid 5, and those type of pitchers are the depth now. They're not the guys you're relying on, and then when they go down, you go to a tier below them. So I think they're put themselves in a good spot in terms of not having to go get 2 starters at the deadline.
And we haven't even talked about Tink Hence, who, oh my, what he's fun to watch.
He's a couple years away.
Graceffo got knocked around. I understand that. Who cares?
Whatever. McGreevy both.
But you've got Graceffo, you got Tink Hence, McGreevy maybe if eventually, and you got Jerpy. Like they're all on their way. And Connor Thomas, another one.
I'm interested to see. He's not been very good so far. But he was great. Arizona Fall League Pitcher of the Year, or I guess it would be of the year of the season. I don't know what you call it down there because it's like a couple weeks. But he's been really good. Like they've got depth. They're not going to run out of options. It's just how effective are those options going to be, and also can we make it to where we don't have to use those options because the 5 guys we're relying on can stay healthy for a year? Because wouldn't you like to just have one of those years? Like last year, you look at the Yankees, other than Frankie Montas, their whole rotation was pretty healthy the entire year. And the Cardinals just have 1 year where the whole rotation's healthy. Because I'm telling you, if the rotation would have been healthy the last 2 years, we would have won 100 games. But you have those lulls in the middle of the year where you don't win games for weeks at a time because you don't have starting pitching. If they can just stay healthy, I mean, it's probably a high 90s to 100 win team, but I don't know how likely that is.
And the Yankees now, the opposite. Nestor, you got Montas. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
I heard Nestor's going to be okay, though.
Okay, good. Glad to hear that.
I'm glad.
We're nasty Nestor fans, so
he's great for that. It makes me sad him and Kershaw aren't at the WBC. But that's
that hurts. That hurts the team a little bit too, but it's all right.
It definitely does.
It is what it is.
Those are 2 great pitchers.
All right, just to switch a little bit before we get to the mailbag and get out of here. Do we have a backup catcher controversy?
No.
You don't think so? So you're not buying into. You think that's you think those words are to push Andrew Kisner even more, or you're not buying into Barrera at all?
It's nothing against him at all. I think he's done a great job this spring, and I've been really impressed. I just think Andrew Kisner is one of those guys the clubhouse loves and the pitchers love. He has a good relationship with all of them. He knows them, more importantly. It would be weird to me, and I think kind of not very beneficial to the team in any way, if you have a new catcher like Wilson Contreras, to not keep Andrew Kisner to try and help him when you have pitchers that he's familiar with, he's been around for 5 years, and Wilson Contreras is new. Like, to bring in another new catcher, I don't think that would help anybody.
Can you explain to me the people who are crying for Ivan?
I don't know which one it is. I think it's Ivan.
It's got to be Ivan, right?
I'm gonna go with Ivan. Ivan sounds like Russian, right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Ivan. That they want Herrera to be the back, like a 22-year-old still developing. They want to be the backup catcher. Like, can you make that make sense? Like, there are people screaming this because they think that's good for the team. Yeah. It's not.
People want the best 26 guys on the team. I get it. Ivan Herrera, he's an incredible talent. Don't give up on him, please, because he's really, really good.
Agreed.
But he needs to play every day. He's got some maturing to do too. Like he's not ready to handle that daily grind of game planning and being in those meetings and leading and helping lead those meetings, which I do think Andrew Kisner is going to be able to help do. Like, he's going to be able to help Wilson Contreras. I've already seen videos of them talking a lot because Andrew Kisner was catching bullpens all off season.
I agree with you.
So Ivan Herrera, he's probably, I don't even know if he's a better option right now because I don't know. He's so young and he's so raw. But at the same time, like, Ivan Herrera's the best thing for him and probably the team, honestly, for him to go ahead and figure out how to hit at the AAA level.
Agreed.
Because he's done a good job with that, and his bat's what's going to get him to the big leagues. But also to learn how to, with Pedro Pajes, I think is going to be the other guy there. For those two to be able to learn how to control a pitching staff and run a pitching staff and call a game with Trace Barrera, who's probably also going to be there. So the best thing for him and the team is for him to be in AAA.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think Barrera is a guy that they might look to trade at the end of spring training, or do you think they'll go ahead and keep him in the system? Barrera, yeah.
They just signed him to be depth.
I'm just saying, do you think they carry 3 catchers at the Memphis level? That's my question.
They do a lot. They do that sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I
don't know what they'll do. They might move. Maybe Pajes is in Springfield. I don't know. I actually probably not
Yeah.
though. He's a guy too that people don't talk about. He's a really good catcher.
Yeah. And who's the other young stud besides Crooks? They got
Oh,
another one down
Bernal
there.
and Crooks. Yeah, those guys, they're a
Yeah.
couple years away, but those guys, keep an eye
Yeah.
on them. They'll be jumping up rankings
I
soon.
assume Crooks will be in Peoria this year.
They both will.
You think both of them will be down there? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else that you wanted to hit on that we've seen from Cardinal baseball in the last couple of, obviously we just were here a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see them back on TV, by the way. That's nice. Anything else you
The
wanted to hit
one
on
thing
that
we didn't
kind of
say,
caught your eyes? Yeah.
the one thing we didn't say, this is our final player profile for
Correct.
the year. So we didn't say that yet. So we're done with that. We're going to get into spring training games. And I'm trying to think about how we're going to do episodes that aren't all titled something about Jordan Walker. But in all honesty, no, there's not really anything else. Not really. Everything's just going to be Jordan Walker at this point. Like the guy is he is exceeding everything that you could have even imagined him doing at this point. And it's incredible to watch. One, great for him. Like that guy, he seems like a great dude, but also great for the team. Maybe Mosaic's like, man, he's not making this decision easy for me. So I'm excited to see how that develops. But other than that, there's really nothing going on that I think is of note. I'm glad we shout out Jake Woodford because he was the guy I kind of wanted to talk about today, because I did think that what he did was really impressive.
Yeah, I wanted to hit on him too. And like I said, we didn't want to spend as much time on all the other pitchers. Like we don't know. So we're not going to come on here and try to act like we have any idea what we're going to get from Steven Matz, Jordan Montgomery, and Miles Mikolas. I mean, I think we know with Miles and Jordan, but we were like, pitching is so hard because you don't know. Like that's all you can say. It's like the NFL draft.
Volatile.
You don't know.
My one question, I guess we'll end it this way. This profile part of this episode. Do you expect us to be in a starting pitching crunch by July again?
I think. I mean,
to the level of the last 2 years, where it's been like need pitching or this team is going to miss the playoffs.
No, I don't.
I don't think so either.
And I also think that's because of Jake Woodford. I think that's because of Palante. I think that's because of Liberatore. I think that's because of your boy Dak. Like I know you hate him, but I'm just saying I think there is some depth. I think there is some depth there.
I don't hate him. I
does give us a little bit more protection. Also, like, do you think? I know what I want to ask you before we get out. Stop with the pitching. Do you think Zach Thompson ever becomes a starter in this team, or do you think he is just a bullpen guy now, and that's what he's going to be for the rest of his career?
I think they found what he's good at, and what he's good at is being a reliever. So I don't.
Okay.
I think maybe he'll get a chance next year, because I do think next year we might get a situation where they have 4 spots locked up, and they're going to say, "Okay, young guys, someone go get the job," and then maybe they give him chance in spring training. I can see that happening, but for this year, I think he'll just be a bullpen guy the whole year.
Okay. All right. Anything else you need to talk about with the Cardinals?
No, I'm good.
Wanted to give a little shout out to our guy Mike Godar. I know he's probably having a rough night tonight. Also shout out to Jim Boeheim for what a career. Legend. Retired after the game today. What a terrible way to lose also. Wake Forest hits a shot at the buzzer to beat you. You had the upset brewing. That guy has been a staple in my college basketball life. Like he has always been on the sidelines for Syracuse. It's like Coach K. It's like Roy Williams. It's like, I mean, fill in the blanks. You can go on down Izzo. You go on down the line with all of those guys. Legend of a career, legend of a human. What a job he did at putting Syracuse basketball in Northern New York on the map.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he had a really, really great career, and he's right up there with those guys, like you said. Maybe not to the level of Coach K, but like in terms of legend status, he's right below him probably.
Yeah,
so,
and that zone
great
defense,
career.
man. That
it's hard to think like you won't ever think about. I mean, you won't ever think about Syracuse basketball and not think about him. Like there's nobody else that you think of.
No,
like it's just a bad.
I still think like whenever I see UNLV go across, I still think of Tark from back in the early 90s. So I'm always going to definitely think of Boeheim. No doubt about it. All right, let's end with a mailbag. We haven't done one for a few pods. And we've had, thank you, first of all, for all the comments. You guys are freaking awesome. As you're watching, if you hit that little subscribe button on YouTube, thank you. Once again, to all of our Apple and Spotify and Amazon and Anchor and Google and whatever else you're listening on via the On the Line, we greatly appreciate you. So thank you for that. This has been a blast. You guys have made the success that we're starting to have so much more fun because of you guys. The comments, everything. You can find us right here on our Twitters. Obviously, you can find us on Facebook. We have an Instagram that we don't use, so don't go there looking for content.
I don't get on it, so you don't.
A lot of content. But I've been trying to put a lot of content out on Facebook. You've been putting a lot of content out on Twitter. I feel like we're starting to do a little teamwork here.
Yeah, teamwork. You're pulling your weight on Facebook.
Hey, I'm about to start a job. I don't know what you want me to do.
Okay, I'm a full-time student.
You didn't say anything about my
So,
St. Patty's Day hat.
it's backwards. I can't see it very well.
Yeah. Better?
Yeah, I like it.
All right.
It looks like I didn't know they made St. Patrick's Day like spring training hats. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's when the fuck do you think they're playing spring training or St. Patty's Day games?
Well, normally the hats for the green hats I see are like just normal STL logos.
Bro, you're too
They
much.
are. That's true. Just spin facts over here.
Okay, let me just go through a few. I'm not going to spend all the time, but thank you again for all your comments. We greatly appreciate you. If we don't read yours, it's not because we're mad at you. So please understand that. Keep commenting. We love it. From Jeremy, hey guys, lost my father last week and watching. This was a week ago, so it's been 2 weeks. Really enjoy watching your relationship. Is awesome. I love Cardinal baseball and love to deal with you, to chat with you guys about ball. Jeremy, we greatly appreciate you. We are so very sorry for your loss. What Caleb and I get to do, like I don't take it for granted, even when he tells me to stop and when he yells at me. Like I cherish.
I do not
these
yell
moments,
at you.
and I absolutely love every minute of it. And this is what we've done since he was a little kid. That's why we started this podcast. For guys who are out there listening, the relationship between a dad and a son, for many of us, baseball, very powerful. So sorry for your loss, but thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yeah, there's nothing I can really add to what you just said. I echo the sentiments that you gave.
Yeah. John Rapp, is this team deep offensively? Oh, yeah. This team is deep. Love that.
They are.
Love that.
Speaking of which, while we're talking about Miles Mikolas today, giving up one run with nobody out.
Right. All
Not
right.
good.
Well,
That's not good. You said it right like it was good. That's not a good thing.
There we go. All right. All right. Our resident crossbow guy, Daryl Dixon, we have a lot of position player depth, but I feel like we are lacking in pitching depth and quality. I'm surprised we didn't trade for an ace or a number 2 pitcher. Donovan has been lifting weights. Well, we see that paying off, by the way. And then it's hard to not get excited over Jordan Walker. We greatly agree with that. I think the fact, and we hit on this a little bit, there wasn't a lot to trade for. Like the one big trade in baseball for a pitcher who would be a 1-2 guy was Pablo Lopez, who got traded for
He's
the
not a
batting
1 or
champ.
2 either.
Well, I agree with that, but that's what Cardinal fans thought he was Cy Young. So,
he's not better than Miles Mikolas.
I agree with you. I'm just saying from the perspective of outside in our fan base, there weren't trades. Like there weren't those guys that were out there. They weren't going to sign the big contracts. Everybody points to Rodon. I still go back to the fact that it's hard to deal with the fact that Rodon wanted to be in New York. So you would have had to outbid something fierce. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and also, I don't agree that they don't have depth. I think that's where a lot of this gets confused sometimes. They have depth and they have solid quality arms. The thing that people should be angry about, or not angry, I guess, I bet concerned is the word I'd use, is that they don't have top end starting pitching arms. That's the problem. I don't think they have a bad rotation. I don't think they lack depth. I think they have depth and they have a decent one. They don't have the guy that you're like, give him the ball game one and he's going to go and he's going to win us a game. Like, look at the last 2 World Series. I mean, the Cardinals have had that guy, right? They had Chris Carpenter, but also they've had guys step up like Jeff Weaver in 2006. If you can have guys like that, you can have guys step up, and maybe that will happen. And that's how you win a World Series, when guys perform to a level you don't expect. But I do think they have depth. I just don't think they have the guy that they need.
Right.
If they do, he has to prove it, Jack.
Multiple comments on here about my t-shirts. And a lot of people very excited that I was wearing black and gold Mizzou shirt a couple of episodes ago. Let me explain this very carefully. Caleb goes to U of I. I am a U of I supporter. I live in New Orleans now. I am also a massive LSU supporter. Deep Hagel's going to give me all types of shit because I also root for North Carolina basketball. But here's what I will tell you. All right. I am not a Mizzou fan. One of my former baseball players, Johnny Wags, shout out to him, got me that shirt. He goes to school there. A lot of my former students go to Mizzou. I have an ornament that hangs on my tree every Christmas from one of my golfers who played for me. Shout out to Hannah. She got that for me. That is much more sentimental. That's why the shirt was there. I probably will never wear that shirt on air again.
Don't. Or
and
Alabama.
Then let me explain this. Okay, so then it was like better than the Bama. Let me explain that. That is from my niece. Let me explain the Bama shirt to you.
Notice he hasn't worn an Illinois hoodie or anything.
You haven't bought me
His
one.
son goes to Illinois.
You haven't bought me one,
people.
Dude. They bought me one. They got it for me. I have a Greenville baseball. Former player playing at Greenville. Got me a shirt.
Let's get on with this. Goddamn.
Anyway, my niece goes to Alabama. She got me the shirt. Shout out Taryn. Went to a bar to watch a Saints game. Forgot I had said Alabama shirt on. bar we go in that people usually very nice to me. They were not nice to me when I walked in there. One guy said, you might as well fucking wearing a Georgia shirt. That's what he said. Didn't even realize what shirt I had on. Looked down, Alabama baseball shirt on in the middle of an LSU crowd watching the Saints game. It did not go well. Today, went to try to sell my car, getting rid of my car. The ladies tell me, hey, if you come back, make sure you put an LSU shirt on. Never wearing the Alabama shirt again.
Stop wearing it. You're not even an Alabama fan. Why are you wearing it so much? Actually, part of that pisses me off. Because I fucking hate Alabama, and so do you. Why are you wearing it?
Respect to my niece, man. Respect to my niece.
Fuck that.
All right. Chris Widener, just found your show. Excellent. Your description of the frustration for Burleson and Gomez is palpable. Wishing we had traded for a few lefty arms or signed Chafin. I was on board with Chafin all along. The reliever deals were very high.
But not even his, though. It's just, that was weird. There must have been something going on.
Yeah, because I wanted it. I was on the Chafin train for a long time.
The fact that he fell to Arizona's lap for 1 year and a second-year team option, something must have been amiss there. I don't know what it was.
Also, by the way, thank you, Chris. We appreciate the nice words.
Michael has 2 runs, by the way, in the first.
Oh, my. Carl K, man, this is a fun team to watch or to talk about. Great job, guys. Thanks for the air candy. Thanks for the ear candy. You're welcome. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Bush Hog, what a name. Bush Hog, fantastic. We need to have a beer with that guy.
That's your stripper name.
Dude, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Like, I don't even know what goes on in your mind. This is why you sit in a fucking jail cell all day. Appreciate the episode. Entertaining chat. Go Cardinals. Bush, we're on board, buddy. We're on board. Also, he did spell it not like the beer, just so you know.
That's what I was hoping. That's what I was hoping for.
Sorry. Oh, here we go. I wanted to get to this because I wanted your answer here. From Ryan Graven, who's been a great commenter. Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate you. Quick debate here. 100 at bats off DeGrom with a full defense behind him to get a hit, or 100 possessions versus Giannis starting at half court to score a bucket. Which one is more possible? I will tell you right now that I am 49. I'm overweight, but I can still shoot a basketball like no other. So I will take a chance in 100 possessions because I am not hitting Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, how many chances was it? 100 each?
100, yeah.
I have no chance against Jacob DeGrom, so just throw that one to the side. I think it's Giannis, and it's not even close because I think I can just throw up shots from half court, and I can make one. I'll make one. If you give me 20 half court shots, I'll make at least 2 of them.
Yeah. Our guy Blake, don't even make a comment about Blake.
You're the one that keeps bringing that up
because screwed it up so many times. I don't even want to talk about it. Kind of went 2 jerseys now. My old number and maybe a hard number 9 if I can find. Blake, don't. We appreciate that, by the way. But dude, you're a better human than
hard
that.
Get number
your
9
name and your high school number. Do not get a hard 9 on. Although hey, if I am at Busch Stadium and I see that, I'm buying you a beer. Just so you know. But don't do it.
Hard number 9 is also your other stripper name.
Well, I mean, maybe.
I don't know. People would probably think something different if you walked around in a jersey that said hard on the back.
9. Remember the Office episode where Packer has the vet and it says well Hun and Ryan says, are you a William Hun fan? And he goes, why do people keep asking me that? Sorry, what I thought about with that. CJ is awesome. We think so too. For your comment, thank you so much. Cardinals have so much offensive depth and the pitching is on its way too. That's what we just talked about. CJ, you read our mind, buddy. You read our mind. Now Damon, I'm not even going to try to pronounce Damon's last name. It looks maybe like it's French or something like that. And I'm still learning that language down here while living in Cajun country. But simplify the problem. Trade Carlson or Gomez for a great relief pitcher. I'm not doing that. Well, I'm not trading either of them for a relief pitcher. That's just me, though.
That should be everybody. I'm sorry. I don't even get this one. I'm sorry. Dylan Carlson's value is not equal to the value of any reliever in baseball. Any reliever in baseball. Look, if you want to know why I think that, go look at what the Brewers got in return for Josh Hader. And it was not a cost-controlled 24-year-old outfielder who's a year removed from a third-place Rookie of the Year finish.
Yep, agreed. Daniel Harmon wrote us a really nice one. I never understood all the Flaherty ain't going to stay rhetoric. I'm pretty sure all the doubt is simply fabricated. It's nonsense. We agree. That's what we talked about last time. It's like a lie that was told at a bar one night that spun out of control. Very good analogy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. I think he perfectly fits the mold of what it is to be a Cardinal. He's tough-nosed, proud, hardworking, and will only invest in winning. I'm not going to read everything else he wrote, but it was all very nice. And he was on I couldn't have said that any better, dude.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that.
Bird Dog popped up. You know Bird Dog from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jack's definitely an X factor. If he stays healthy, it will take the pressure off of everyone. He's got the arsenal to strike out a lot of guys, giving the defense a break. He'll go 6 to 7 innings, typically giving the pen less workload. We are in total agreement.
Yeah, I agree.
And then last one.
Okay.
Last one.
I was gonna.
God, why
yeah,
you try to dictate everything?
I'm not. I just saying I have stuff I gotta go do. I'm a busy guy. I'm not retired.
You are your mom's son,
I'm not a retired 48-year-old who gets
49.
to sit around.
I am 49 and I have a job.
You're welcome. I thought
soon.
you were a year younger. You're welcome.
I'm about to start working on a golf course.
Yeah, great. So I'm sure you're gonna be stressed out. I'm sure the stresses of your life are going to be unbearable.
All right. Other than Goldschmidt, Arenado, Edmund, Donovan, Contreras, nobody else has shown they can consistently produce hitting against Major League pitching. Maybe they will, but as of now, there are a lot more questions than answers. George kind of comes into, I appreciate all of George comments. He is quite the skeptic, I think, on the St. Louis Cardinals of 2023. I understand what he's saying. Okay, go.
I don't understand what you're saying because it's just wrong for one. Tyler O'Neill, 125 OPS plus last year after coming back from his first injury, was MVP candidate the year before. John Carson's been a rookie of the year finisher. Those guys haven't proven they can hit major league pitching. That's not true. Lars
Newbar, for 2 months was on fire.
Lars Newbar was good for almost as long as Brendan Donovan. So to throw one in there and not the other one doesn't make any sense. We're going through, I mean, I don't know. In either way,
and we're watching Jordan Walker.
And anyway, he named 5 guys. Like that's still a good nucleus. And then the other guys are question marks. Just so many of them. And what dictates a question mark? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand this. Like, is Tyler O'Neill a question mark? He needs to be healthy, but is he a question? Does anyone question his ability on the field?
No, we've talked.
Does anyone question like Dylan Carlson's ability when he's healthy? Like, I don't think so. When he was healthy last year, he was great. So I just almost everybody in all of Major League Baseball who's writing about Major League Baseball has said the Cardinals are building something special here with their offense. It's the deepest offense in baseball. So for people in the fan base to be so like down about it, I just think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are that you have to. It's again the show me state
Don't
for
say
a reason.
That.
I knew as soon as I had it, as soon as I had it queued up, ready to come out, I knew what your response was going to be, and that's why I had to say it.
I hate that more than anything. The fucking show me state. Kansas City Royals are also in this state. Are they showing us anything? What does that mean?
They're in Kansas, dude.
They're not. They're not.
That's what our governor said. Oh, the Missouri governor, not our governor. He's not my governor, but that's what I think he said. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, like here's the thing. If you're someone that is skeptical, fine. I get it. The Cardinals haven't won a World Series in 12 years. Oh my God, the biggest drought ever, except for almost every other team. Here's the problem that I have.
Well, it's not almost every other team. There are.
I mean, it is about every other. It is pretty damn close. Like everyone's like, "Oh, it's been like the Yankees. The Yankees haven't won in 14 years." So shut up for a second. Anyway, I don't understand. I do not understand.
What'd you get in that coffee you went to buy?
I do not understand how you can see the amount of talent that this organization has cultivated offensively. Pitching, fine. You can be skeptical of that. I get it. We just talked about it. But offensively, if you don't appreciate what they have right now, then one, you're either not watching, or two, you don't understand what you're watching. I don't get it.
Wow, man, you just defended, I think, like you just defended all
that's
of Twitter.
Fine. And you know what? If you're offended by that, if you don't see the amount of young, promising hitters that we have that could all end up being, honestly, all-star level producers, all of them, then you're just not watching what I'm watching.
You know how I feel. So you know, you tell me to not say things.
I don't want to attack George.
No, thank you, George, for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. I just disagree with everything he said. So I'm sorry. That's why we do this, so we can give our opinions on what
Agreed. Anything else you need to hit on for baseball wise with the Cardinals before we get out of here?
No, I'm good. I'm excited to see how the rest of this week plays out. Playing Nicaragua tomorrow, which is cool. We'll see how the rest of the week plays out. We'll be back on Tuesday to talk about Jordan Walker.
All right. There you go. Another spoiler alert. Hey guys, as always, once again, thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for listening. Tell a friend. We greatly appreciate when you do that. Hit that subscribe button. That's a good one. Follow our socials. I feel like I'm waving traffic here, but those are all really good things. Also, Caleb hit on it earlier. If you are new to the show or you come in halfway through our player profiles, this is our 13th one. They're all available on YouTube. Check them out. All right. We are getting really good numbers, even like every day. Those numbers are flying up. That's because of you all. All right. So thank you for that. They're also on Spotify, Apple, all of those podcast platforms. You can find those. And we did these profiles for a reason, because like they're not just that day's news and then we're moving on. Like these are all things that we still continue to talk about, that we've been talking about now for 7 weeks. So
also, like, I think it's interesting for us to be able to go back and see where we were wrong. Maybe we undervalued someone, maybe we overvalued someone. We're going to be able to see where those lie. And we're not perfect. Our opinions may be stupid. If so, tell us. That's fine. I mean, I'll take it, but I'll disagree with you. But I'll take your scrutiny is what I was going to say. But also leave a like if you. We don't ever really say that. But it'd be nice. It's nice to know how many people actually like the video. Like,
absolutely.
So if you like what we're doing, so just press the like button.
We're all about kindness here on the
It's
Hard
free.
Nine.
And there is one person I think that dislikes every video still. And I'll find you. I don't know who you are, but I will find you. It's like Liam Neeson. I will find you. I won't do anything to you when I won't do anything when I find you. I will find you.
Also, I'll just
let you know I know.
For those of you who do point out Caleb, if he does make a mistake in the last 13, we know for damn sure that if he gets it right, he's going to let us know. So there's that too.
The problem is that I get everything.
You have, I think, on the other side of that white wall, you have all your things you say as receipts, and then you're crossing them off.
No, I just have a very good memory, and
Billy
I have
Madison,
to be right all the time.
Steve Buscemi.
You're just mad, Dad, that you're never right, so you're never going to say that you're right. That's not my fault. Get more things right. You should have guessed Sandy Alcantara was going to win the Cy Young. You should have guessed Goldie was going to win the MVP.
Here we go again.
You should have guessed J-Rod was going to be the Rookie of the Year. I mean, that's just. Those were like if I should have placed bets on those. Like I would have made a lot of money.
You're not old enough.
Give me 2 months.
All right.
Almost exactly 2 months.
Again, as always, thank you guys so much. Have an amazing weekend. Watch Cardinal spring training. Watch the WBC. Check out some other teams around the league. We're getting to play everybody this year. That's one thing Caleb and I are working on, is trying to maybe get some guys from all the other organizations to come on and talk to us about teams that we don't see very regularly. So you're going to see everybody this year. So watch those guys. Enjoy it.
Watch the
WBC.
WBC.
We'll talk to you all soon, evidently about Jordan Walker. Go Cards.